And if passed into law, that will have major implications for any company dealing with AI. Let me bring up my screen so I can show you the work that we've done on it. We basically went through each and every one of the documents that the EU Artificial Intelligence Act has released up until now, so far. And we pulled out the major things, the things that are of main importance to the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. And we offer ways on how to deal with the things that are relevant to artificial intelligence and what the EU is proposing in their act when turned into law. So I'd like you to be prepared and have a look with me together on what it is covering. So what we're looking at here is the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. When I open this up, we'll see here the blue balls, the blue greenish balls. They give you the areas that the AI Act is actually covering and looking into, all of these areas. So we have areas like AI related areas. If I pull that one out, pull that one to the left. And we have test AI here. What else we have? AI rules we have here. We have future AI risks, AI technologies, AI regulation, AI applications down here, what kind of AI systems in there. We have data. There's a lot about data legislation, data strategy, data protection. We have data sharing. We have here AI practices, goes over there with AI. And you see how it's all sort of organized. There's an AI systems here in AI. These are all the areas that are being covered in the AI Act, EU AI Act, which is a lot and it has major implications. What we've done is we've gone through each of these areas: cyber threats, control management, AI development, future applications, protection policy, intelligence use, privacy policy, risk practices, identification systems, search engines, control management, risk systems, worker management, source code, ensuring access, machine learning, recognition systems, automated decision, consumer protection, product safety, recommender systems, etc. And here's another data. So if I look at all these areas and just open one up, we'll get to see what's behind them. Because what I'm going to do now is explain what you're looking at, basically. So these are all the areas covered by the EU Artificial Intelligence Act, and I'm going to offer you ways on how to deal with that. If you look at, for instance, let's pick one here, future AI, and open that up. Future AI. So these are the questions that you actually need to ask yourself and your organization when you're dealing with future AI, and make sure that you have the right answers to that. So the blue ones, the light blue balls, they're actually the questions that you need to be answering when you're dealing with future AI in relation to the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. So what's the best way to prepare your organization for a data-centric and AI future? What is required for your organization to better take advantage of data science in the future? What role will AI and big data play in future identification and authorization processes, etc.? So there's a couple more here. I'll leave that on my screen so you can have a look at what's here. For now, I'm just going through the balls and explaining what you're looking at and how it's all connected. Now, when I open up one of the questions here, I get to see ideas on how to deal with that. And that's the beauty of doing it like this. This is how your brain works. The brain works in a neural kind of way. You have a ball of thought, and then other connections pop up and other ideas of how to work with that, and other solutions, basically, and ideas. So the green balls here, they're the ideas or the solutions to offer to the question asked in relation to future AI and EU Artificial Intelligence Act here, down here. Question is, what's the best way to prepare your organization for a data-centric and AI future? Is there a need in your organization to adopt and leverage AI? Find that out first. That's a question we're asking here. And if I open that up, you get to see what's behind there. We have people that we can ask questions about that and engage here. Specifically here is administrative support. Here, trust AI systems and tools are available for the identification and control of measuring equipment, including prevention from adjustment by unauthorized staff. And again, business operations role. So we have job roles in here as well. People who are responsible for a certain activity in your organization in relation to future AI and the implementation of the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. So we have job roles here. We also see other balls here, the red balls. and the red balls and the yellow balls. Now the red balls, they are a keyword that's related to here an activity. So if I unclick it again, you see what happens. If I click it, it opens up, and other activities related to organization of AI pop up that we need to be doing. And again, I can click on those, and out come the responsibilities and the people who you need to engage with to make sure that that happens. So this is how it's all put together. Same here. This is a keyword that's related to the main question. So future, for instance. So if I want to have more questions around the future of AI in relation to EU legislation, there you go. Loads of stuff pops up, and loads of questions pop up here, and I can quickly pan over them so you can have a quick peek on what's happening here, what kind of questions there are. So there you have an idea of how this is put together, what kind of data is in here. It's a massive data set that holds about 2,500 questions and answers to them potential data related to it. But the most important bit for now is that you get to see here the EU Artificial Intelligence Act and the areas that it actually covers, which is, think about it, and it's basically there. So they've done a lot of great work to actually make sure that the legislation, once it passes, covers a lot. And most of this, if you're into AI, you're already doing it, you're already covering it. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's make it easier a little bit easier, because you want to start with the low-hanging fruit, and the low-hanging fruit would be, what are the three most important questions to ask in your organization to make sure that you're doing the right way, the right thing in relation to the EU Artificial Intelligence Act? One, does your organization have the systems needed for reliable and efficient data management, time capture, accounting, risk management, and management information? So how do you manage data? That's what we want to know. How do you manage data in a transparent and compliance related way? Does your organization have a data protection or security policy that you will follow? Does your organization have a social media policy? Hang in there, go somewhere. Governing employees' use of social media, media in general, particularly pertaining to sharing confidential customer and organization data on the platform, on any platform, or sharing the data you have. So these are the major areas that are the most important questions. And when I just open all three of them up, you get to see all the related things that we've seen before, but then specifically to these three questions. And you can see here, these are the major areas that they're related to. They're related to data sharing. Do we have risk systems in place, and the protection policy that we have in our organization to cover all of that? Now, the questions that we need to be answering are those three, and the potential answers are: evaluate the current rules on consumer protection. Make sure it's doing that. Investigations analyst related to protection. Automate the generation of believable decoy objects from structured data. That has to do with cyber attacks, and has to do with in, infection of your data, basically. So decoy. Data manager, definitely. Decoy is here. Need to know how the data is gathered. Where does your data actually come from? Let's zoom in a bit, because I'm not quite sure if you can read this. Let's zoom in a bit. You need to know how the data is gathered. Prevention data coordinator. Have explicit permission to use materials as data, or all the materials that you have in your organization. Have explicit permission for that. Have the information requirements of the future. Have you identified the legislation and provide for your future IT organization so you can manage its IT supply chain risk, or its IT risk in general? So do you have that basically? Are you looking towards the future? Do you have a process in place to make sure that you're continuously looking for changes in the industry, legislation, things that will have an impact on you as an organization? Integrate contextual insights from disparate data sources to achieve integrated intelligence. Be smart and see how everything's connected. Basically what we're doing here. Make sure you're seeing the connections between everything that your data that your data wants to be, and how it's related to clients and privacy in general. Find the time or resources to review business intelligence. Try to determine if you can integrate various HR data. Do you dread trying to determine if you do that? If you can do that, because HR data is obviously very sensitive data. How can you use that in your organization in line with the AI legislation? How are you using it now? Are you using it in the correct way? Get the results of this information. So what do you do with it then? Conduct your own research to inform your intelligence, and consider the preferred reading to be of value to the security intelligence. What kind of data are you using in your organization to make sure you're doing the right things, actually? If you look at this, this is like a small blueprint, because these are the three major questions to ask around these areas: data sharing, risk, and protection. These are the major questions to ask in your organization to make sure that you're already along the lines, working along the lines of the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. And then you can look for these green areas in your organization to make sure that you're actually covering those. Do we have that? And if you do that, you'll find that you'll go down a rabbit hole a lot in your organization, but it will uncover what needs to be uncovered, and it will highlight the good work that's already been done in your organization, is already done in your organization. The beauty of this is, for instance, if I ask a question of a data manager, I'm talking to my data manager, and these are the other tasks that my data manager then needs to be aware of, that I need to be doing with my data manager. So all the job roles are in here already as well. And that's really helpful for an organization, really helpful to make sure it's doing the right thing. The job roles and all the tasks that they need to do, the questions that they need to ask, I can go back up, so the questions come back up as well. So as for job roles, like I said, it involves a lot of responsibilities and a lot of job roles that you need to cover that are involved with the EU Artificial Intelligence Act and the implementation of those. Now, if you're doing a lot of work around compliance and risk management and regulation, then you already have all these job roles in your organization and the areas that are responsible for making sure that new legislation gets put into place in the right way. So that's all the stuff that we see here, all the areas and all the roles that are in here. And again, I can just click on the role, prevention data coordinator, and see what comes up. Oh, that's a busy person. There's a lot of activity that needs to be done within the prevention data coordinator to make sure that the job is done well. Have an ethical data usage and sharing of data sources for assurance. Shoulder the financial and operational risk of non-compliance. Apply and maintain the general data protection regulation and govern. So the GDPR, remember that one? That's still in play. Don't forget about that one. Relates to privacy. Um, so if I unclick that one again, otherwise it gets too much, and I can click on anything basically, and it comes up with all the activities. The manager of privacy compliance. That sounds interesting. Yep, another busy person. Lots of privacy compliance to take care of in your organization here. So there's a lot of job roles that have a lot of responsibilities, and if I simply now only open up the green balls, which are the responsibilities that you need to take care of in your organization, you'll see what the responsibilities are. These are all the responsibilities that you need to take care of in your organization in relation to the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. And there's a lot of them. There's a couple of thousand we have in here that are aligned with job roles as well, with activities and with major areas that you need to be covering. I'm going to pen over it right now a little bit so you have an idea of what's in here. Loads and loads of activities, and they're all related to job roles, all related to what you need to be doing in your organization. So how do you connect them? You connect them by asking the most important question, like we do here, like we did at the start. That's with these three most important questions. That's how you connect them. You connect them all here, and you get to see the overview of what you need to be doing from these are the major things that you need to be doing point of view. So these are the major areas that you need to take care of first. Um, One more thing I wanted to show you, which is if I only want to focus on risk, for instance, I could do that as well specifically. So if I want to focus on one thing, I can click on one of those risk balls, but I can also go like, hey, let's have a look at risk specifically, what comes up here. So do I have questions and best ideas that relate to risk? And I only want to see the ones that have the highest priority. So I can focus on it in this kind of way. Right, so does your organization have a framework policy on cybersecurity and risk related to data privacy? Does your organization have the systems needed for reliable and efficient data management, time capture, we've seen that, and management information? How does your organization identify, assess, and mitigate data security and privacy risks associated with the AI system? That's an interesting one as well. Let's open that up, see what comes up. All kinds of areas here that we need to be covering here. Measure the success of the future. How does it look like, the AI? Do you have a test database available that utilizes real data to help the AI? Have immediate or near-term risk and manage those. Support data encryption at rest and encryption done in the code of conduct requirements, etc. So lots of data in here, lots of activities that you need to be doing here. Now, What I wanted to show you before I say goodbye, because I know my time is short, is this one. This is the complete content of the data set that you're looking at here. So all the activities that you need to be doing, and I'll zoom in. These are all the activities that you need to be doing. Those are the green balls, the activities. The questions that are related to them to ask in your organization are the blue balls, so the light blue balls. The dark blue balls, the dark greenish balls, they are the major areas that the EU Artificial Intelligence Act actually covers. So these areas you need to be focusing on. So you can only focus on specifically those areas, or you can focus on specifically one question, or you can focus on one job role, or you can just pick a keyword and out pop all the areas that you need to be covering in your organization. That's a lot of data, a lot of information we're covering here. We went through all of the data that's in all of the information in the EU Artificial Intelligence Act, all the information that has been released so far. And it's very exciting. I personally think they've done a great job so far. We'll see once it's moved into law what it will do, because so far GDPR has moved into law, but there haven't been many slap on the wrists, so to speak. So we'll see where this goes, but it's very promising, and I think the industry can really benefit from using the EU Artificial Intelligence Act to actually do the right thing. So have a look at all this. What I'll be doing is I'm going to do this: export as SVG, and that's exporting as a vector. EU AI Act, exporting as a vector, which means that it's an image where you can zoom in, you can see every area, you can zoom into every question, you can zoom into every answer. You can't play around with it, so some things are hidden behind the ball, you can't really see it because that's behind it, obviously. If you want that vector image where you can zoom in and have a look at what's going on, DM me. I'm on LinkedIn, you can find me there. I'm everywhere: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, even, and email. For now, I thank you for your attention. This was the EU Artificial Intelligence Act by me, Gerard Blokdijk. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time.